Wow, well, it's almost like focusing entirely on the fact that a show is woke doesn't actually bring in enough viewerships. Well, that's what we're finally seeing now. As a showrunner for a recently canceled Netflix show has come out to speak out against Netflix for relying exclusively on its woke marketing as opposed to actually talking about elements of the show. This on top of massive streaming losses for Paramount and HBO Max cutting 70% of its workforce. It's a streaming bloodbath out there. And, well, I can't say that I'm extraordinarily bummed to hear it. Now, this interview is actually pretty interesting. We talked about this show, this girl on girl vampire show getting canceled. But what was interesting is the showrunner actually coming out to say, wait a minute here. I think my show is good. That's subjective. That's neither here nor there. But the kind of the watershed moment here is that we have a woke Hollywood person coming out and saying, you screwed me, Netflix, because you only ever said, oh, hey, LGBTQ vampires, LGBTQ vampires, LGBTQ vampires. It's super important. You got to watch it. And it failed. By the way, a side note, today is the last day. Like I'm going to disable the promo code. STIMMY, STIMMY, 10% off all new orders at Coffee Brand Coffee. That includes the pre-orders for K-Cups, which is live right now. That includes all 6 of our coffees, which has a decaf. It has a medium roast. Dark roast is our best seller. We have other medium roasts. We have 002, which is my favorite, the Ethiopian. We have 3 hot cocos. We have the cold brew bags, which are flying off the shelves. We even have a few spots left in our Roaster's Choice program. We have like 12 spots left in Roaster's Choice. That fills up every month. We've got our Essential Starters Kit for both coffee and tea if you don't know what you want. We have 6 organic teas. Promo code STIMMY supports the channel directly. We have nearly 1,500 5-star reviews across all of our products. I would absolutely love if you gave us a try today. Now, First Kill showrunner blames Netflix show's cancellation on marketing that never went beyond teen lesbo vampire element. On Tuesday, Netflix put a stake in First Kill after just 1 season. Today, showrunner Felicia D. Henderson went public with her thoughts on why the show was not given a new cycle. The show is based on a short story by Victoria Schwab and executive producer Emma Roberts. In the series, teen vampire Juliet sets out to make her first kill so she can take her place among a powerful vampire family. She sets her sights on a new girl in town named Calliope. But much to Juliet's surprise, Calliope is a vampire hunter. Whoa! From a family of celebrated slayers. Both find that the other won't be so easy to end. Unfortunately, way too easy to fall for. Wow, what a great young adult story to tell. I so enthusiastically signed on to the show because it had something for everyone. Did it? What did it have for me? Henderson said in an interview with the Daily Beast, strong woman leads, supernatural intrigue, an epic Shakespearean battle between warring families. Girl, I've seen 100 vampire movies like this. Twilight was this exact same. Even What We Do in the Shadows has a love triangle between a slayer and a vampire in its most recent season. This is not a unique trope. It's been played out a zillion times. Families and a prominently featured black family in the genre space, something black viewers crave and a general audience needs to be treated to. So the showrunner, all they said is diversity, 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 diversity. And now they're whining that Netflix just said diversity, 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 diversity. But she said, while the marketing materials for the show were compelling, they were reductive. The art of the initial marketing was beautiful. I think I expected it to be the beginning, and that the other equally compelling and important elements of the show, monsters versus monster hunters, the battle between two powerful matriarchs, etc., would eventually be promoted, and that didn't happen. See a poster for the show below. Released on June 10th, First Kill made streamers' weekly top 10 of English language TV series in its first 3 days. It ranked 7th with 30.3 million hours viewed. It peaked at number 3 in its first full week of release, 50 million hours viewed, trailing only Stranger Things Season 4 and Peaky Blinders. The series easily cleared 100 million hours viewed in its first 4 weeks. This is actually mind-boggling to me. What is it that Netflix would actually deem as a success? If these numbers are real, I mean, you basically had a top 5 show and you canceled it on a network that you create 100 shows at a time. That seems really weird. Henderson maintained, the show has kicked butt, and we were in the top 5 globally and domestically for 3 of the first 4 weeks. I was very hopeful for a second season. According to Deadline's reporting, the series did not have the staying power of most Netflix hits and did not meet thresholds for viewing and completion of episodes. So what does this possibly mean? Well, it means that Netflix crammed the show down everyone's throat. If you've ever opened the Netflix, the Netflix dashboard, you know what I'm talking about. There's like, you'll see a huge banner for a show, and then it's like, this is #1 in the world, and then it's like, I've never heard of this. It's just like the trending tab, basically, on Twitter. Fake. YouTube trending. Fake. People watched it and hated it, or didn't like it, essentially. Or it had a strong group of core viewers, because when you look at the reviews actually aren't bad. Like, the critic reviews aren't bad, but the viewer are pretty bad, but the viewer reviews are pretty good, which generally leads to like a show being kept on. Henderson maintained top 5 globally according to Deadline's reporting. So people just either there was a large group of people that watched it initially, and then it just didn't have any word of mouth, or I'm not exactly sure how you get here. When I got the call to tell me that they were renewing the show because the completion rate wasn't high enough, of course I was very disappointed. So a lot of people basically tried the show, didn't like it. What showrunner wouldn't be? I was told a couple weeks ago that we were hoping completion would get higher. I guess it didn't. Henderson did credit Netflix for giving the show a chance in the first place. They licensed an IP, paid for a pilot script, and gave a healthy production budget, she acknowledged. Henderson executive produced the show. This is not important elements beyond the girl on girl. It's because Netflix thinks people are stupid, and I guess they can be. You see Nerdrotic posting, this is another streaming says, maybe you shouldn't have made 5 years of garbage Star Trek. Paramount Global predicts $1.8 billion streaming loss in 2022. $1.8 billion loss this year alone. Why? Because get woke, go broke. You had Batgirl, another kind of woke element. I mean, look, just because a movie has a female lead does not mean it's woke. This is like one of the most reductive things that the left says about our critiques often. I didn't see any of the marketing for Batgirl to say that it was woke. Just because you had a female woman of color in the lead role does not mean that it was inherently woke. Does not mean we know for sure she would have been a Mary Sue. Does not mean we'd have sweet lines about white privilege. We even got lines about white privilege in The Batman with Robert Pattinson, which I liked. The lines felt really out of place and dumb. But the movie in and of itself wasn't quote-unquote woke, even though you had Catwoman kicking grown men through windows. But whatever. It's still, you have to suspend some level of reality. You had $100 million film that was in quotes irredeemable. Warner Brothers just shelving it. And I think that what's happening is a larger reckoning that essentially Hollywood has said, here, for years you haven't asked for this content in any real large amounts, but we're going to make it. And because if you don't watch it, then you're a bigot. You need more female leads. Why? Because we say so. It turns out that actually maybe we didn't. Maybe nobody wanted Batgirl. Maybe nobody knew how to cast Batgirl. Maybe Batgirl would have been a fine side character, or like not a side character, but like in an ensemble cast. The thing is, DC also screws this kind of stuff up all the time, never gave Batgirl a chance. Like, you should have had Batgirl in an ensemble cast so people could get to know her before expecting me to pay $15 and commit 2 hours of my time to watch an entire movie carried by somebody that I've got no connection to. Marvel gets this. Marvel brings in side characters, although they didn't with Captain Marvel. But, like, for the most part, you bring in characters, side roles, you start them out on Disney Plus, and then you give them their movie. DC just never really understood that. And what this is it's like a woke reckoning. The audience, there is an audience for something like Batgirl. That's undeniable. There is an audience for, you know, Leba vampires, but it's not big enough to justify the massive amount of money that they're sending us to. And what you're really finding, if I wrap this up, what you're really finding is that that's just not enough. That you actually have to have a good show. And if you look at a lot of the replies to these tweets, I'm sorry, but it just wasn't good. I watched a few episodes and I couldn't get through the entire season. Honestly, I heard that there was this kind of show. I would have watched it. I mean, what was there to advertise? It felt like it was very by the numbers, star-crossed lover story, but happened to be vampires. To be fair, this is a classic trope. It only lasted 2 episodes. Most of the people in here clearly watched it and didn't like it and didn't think it was very memorable. It just wasn't a good show. And the fact that it happened to be woke just wasn't enough to keep it on the payroll. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure code STIMMY at coffeebrandcoffee.com. Today's the last day I'm taking the code. We've had a monster week and I've appreciated everyone's support, and we'll talk to you again real soon.